Hello there guys, it's Bubulkaon here, back again on our video, and today I'm going to do what if Deku can use Ultra Instinct, part 19. Hope you enjoy it. So a small recap is definitely needed because last part was a week ago. But if you somehow missed that part, click on the I button right here and go watch it. But if you did watch it and just need a small reminder, here's the recap. So last part we covered the first day of Deku's and Naofumi work study, and both of them get an invitation from Night Eye. But like the anime, Night Eye can only see Mirio as the only one is worthy to hold One for All. So he used the same test that he did on Deku in the anime, but this time on Naofumi. And Naofumi was able to catch the shield, but Night Eye is still convinced that he's still not worthy. Then they have the encounter with Shisaki and Eri, and it went similar to canon, except for Deku being a bit more aggressive because he can sense ki, but overall the result is still the same, with Eri going back with Shisaki. But after a few days, and after Fatgum told them about the bullet and what Eri is going through, the trio feel defeated, but Deku is able to hold his emotions because of his training. Naofumi on the other hand feel completely useless, and Deku realized that. And after 3 days, Deku had enough and challenged Naofumi. Well, challenge not the word, he forced him to a fight. And the fight ended with Deku using Master Ultra Instinct to defeat him. Then he take him to Recovery Girl, and I think that's it for the recap, so let's begin. So when Deku arrived at the Recovery Girl carrying an unconscious Naofumi, and he's pretty beat up, she asked him what happened. Deku tell her that he will explain everything after they heal him. His injuries look pretty bad. So they did. After that, Deku explained the situation to Recovery Girl. And when he finished, Naofumi wakes up and asks where is he. Deku tell him infirmary, then he remembered what happened. So he asks Deku why did he attack him. I will answer your question, Deku tell him. But you need to tell me first, what's wrong with you? You're acting a bit weird the past few days. Naofumi did not utter a word, he just looked defeated. Let me guess, it's because of Eri, Deku asked him. Naofumi did not say anything, but Deku can understand it is the case because of his body language. So he tried to comfort him and tell him it's not his fault. He didn't know that Eri is not actually Overhaul's daughter. And if anyone messed up, it's me. Naofumi asked him what does he mean. Remember, I can sense ki, Deku tell him. So I was able to see through Overhaul's lies because his ki is dark. And that is putting it mildly. Naofumi shout and tell Deku that he did something. You were going to attack Overhaul, but Mirio stopped you. I, on the other hand, just stood there like I'm just useless. I don't deserve my power. Deku start thinking, doesn't deserve his power? Does he mean One for All? And Deku start putting the pieces together. Naofumi start acting weird right after he fought Night Eye. So he must know about One for All. Who decided that he don't deserve that power? Naofumi realized that he messed up and he talked out loud. So he tried to change the topic and Deku tell him, Naofumi, I know about One for All. Naofumi eyes widen. You knew? Since when? I think a year before UA. All Might did give me a proposal to be the night user, but UI, I mean my quirk, felt that is too dangerous for me or something. So I declined. So listen here carefully, Naofumi. Whatever Night Eye said to you is not the truth. You are more than worthy to use One for All. And you have the talent to boot with it. Naofumi tell him, talent? Deku nod and tell him, you are able to master not only one, but two dangerous quirks. The power-up side of One for All and Black Whip in only few months. So don't sell yourself short and don't listen to him because I don't think that anyone else would have mastered that quirk better than you. And yes, that include me. And after Naofumi heard that, he felt a bit better, so he told him that he would keep that in mind. Moreover, why did you attack me? Or I mean, you challenge me. Deku tell him, it's easy to make you listen to me. Naofumi raised eyebrows and tell him, couldn't you just, I don't know, talk to me? Deku tell him, I could have, but I'm pretty sure that you will not listen to me. Because you are just like me, you are a fighter. Normal conversation doesn't work on us. Naofumi started laughing and agreed with him. Good, you're back to your old self. Well, somewhat. So what should we do next? Naofumi asked him. Sadly, we can only wait. But the second we see Overhaul again, let us make sure that he will pay for what he did to Eri. Naofumi smirk and tell him, whatever you do, I'm right beside you. And they face bump. And a Recovery Girl can only smile, seeing the next user of One for All having someone that can help him lift the burden of the world. Then she tell him that you two should go back to Aizawa. Then she looked at Deku. Try to not kill anyone. Deku just laughed nervously. So two of them return to Aizawa, and immediately everyone can see that Naofumi returned to his old self, or somewhat. So Aizawa looked at Deku, give him a thumbs up, and tell him to go back to his training. So they did, and they wait for Night Eye to call them, and it happened sooner than they thought. Later that day, they got a phone call from Night Eye agency, telling them to come to the agency right now. So some time pass and everyone gather at the agency, and after briefing with the police, they go straight to the hideout. And just for safe measures, Deku decides to activate his Ultra Instinct. So when everyone is at the door, Deku can sense something big coming their way. So he quickly grabs the officer and jumps up the way of Rikiya. And at the last second before Rikiya hit the door, Aizawa did sense him coming toward them. So when he busts through the door, Aizawa cancelled his quirk, and without wasting a beat, Naofumi kicked Rikiya in the face with him flying up in the air. Then he used Black Whip to pull him back, and at the same time, Deku and Naofumi kick him from opposite side of his body, meaning Deku kick him in the back, and Naofumi kick him in the chest, knocking the wind out of him, and he's knocked out. Everyone was left speechless, well, except for the big three. These two are good. Deku and Naofumi, on the other hand, are not wasting time. They immediately start running inside of the hideout before anyone else, and of course they encounter the thugs. At first there were only a few, then a whole army come out from the building, and immediately Deku stick his hand in front of him, and Naofumi pull his hand back. Fire an air cannon and a Detroit smash respectively at the same time. So both of the attack merge into a bigger one, and it push every thug out of the way. Some of them are knocked out and some are barely able to stand. Everyone is left dumbfounded. Even Night Eye. It's been only a few months since Naofumi inherited One for All, and he have this much control over it. His opinion about him is started to change a bit, but his train of thought was cut off by Deku telling him to lead the way. He did, and when he started putting the code in the secret door, Deku started charging his blast. He told them there is 3 people behind the door, so watch out. And the second the door opened, 3 villains pop out, and Deku immediately fire his Nova Flash, or a weaker version of it. So 3 of them are knocked out, so they start running into the hallway, and strangely they find the path blocked with a wall. So Mirio uses his quirk and tell them that this wall is just built recently. Immediately Kirishima, Deku and Naofumi break the wall. But before they can step out foot, Mimic starts using his quirk. So like the anime, Mirio went ahead, and even though Deku is using Ultra Instinct, he can only avoid attack that are directly at him. So when Mimic uses his quirk to make a hole under him, he fell with the others. He did contemplate of blowing the top and to follow Mirio, but so not I tell him it will be better if they found another way. So they start running, and of course Mimic did try to stop them using his quirk, so he formed a wall on both sides blocking them, then he tried to crush them. But that was his mistake. Not only Deku can sense ki, so he know where he is, but also Aizawa, but not as much as Deku. He still need a bit of practice. So after Mimic's second attack, Deku finally got a lock on his ki. At first he was unable to because when he was using his power, he was spreading his ki around them. So it was a bit difficult to locate him. But the second he did, Deku rushed at him, punched the wall in front of him, breaking it, and Aizawa canceled his quirk, then Naofumi grabbed him using Black Whip. So this time they stay in one group. And of course Mirio is fighting Shisaki and his minion, and the fight stayed the same. Until the point where Shisaki got desperate and he tells Shin to fire a quirk erasing bullet at Mirio. But the second he put the bullet inside the gun, Deku and Naofumi break through the wall with Aizawa close behind them. So Aizawa cancels Overhaul's quirk, and at the same time Deku and Naofumi kick Shisaki in the face, sending him flying to the wall. So Shin starts screw it and fire his bullet. Whoever it hit, it hit. And sadly for him, he aimed for Deku because he did hear Shisaki talk about him and how dangerous he is. And instantly, no pun intended, Ultra Instinct realized that this bullet is a threat. It power pushing the bullet away. What the? Thanks Ultra. Yeah, don't mention it, but watch out. That bullet is dangerous, remember. It can't kill me. Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. It will not happen again. After that they check is everyone okay. Naofumi uses his Black Whip to take Shisaki and his minion away. So when they are outside, the rest of the pros are still inside checking every room. So they found the old Shisaki boss. Then they heard something is almost like an explosion. Then another, and it keep getting closer and closer. Then they see Hikaji, sorry I can't say his name. The one who can create barriers. And the rapper. So they come closer to the group demanding the fight, where the rapper is demanding the fight. The other one is trying to free Shisaki and the others. Then Rikiya wake up. Ryuko immediately transforms to her dragon form and start holding him off with the help of Nijire. Meanwhile, Fat Gum, Kirishima, Mirio, and Tamaki are fighting the rapper and the other guy. Sorry I can't say his name. Plus Aizawa is helping both of them using his quirk to cancel theirs, so it seems it will be a quick and easy fight. Then both Aizawa and Deku feel it. Something big is above them. They look up to see a black portal and the Numu come out of it. And it's really similar, almost exactly like the one of the USJ. Immediately Aizawa cancelled his quirk and Deku fired another flash at it. It was able to push it away, but it started healing really quickly. Then Hari came from behind them, he slashed Aizawa with his quirk, grabbed Shisaki and the others and pulled back. Deku and Naofumi tried to attack them, but a barrier was created around them to protect them. Then Shisaki told them, good. Shigaraki's monster come in the right time. Shigaraki, everyone understand that they are working with them. So I'm sure you're asking yourself why Shigaraki sent Numu to save Shisaki. The truth, he didn't send him to save him. He sent it to kill Deku. Remember, Shigaraki was there when Deku transformed to his Master Ultra Instinct, so he did see him beaten all for one, and he's pretty pissed about it. So when Shigaraki wants to talk with Shisaki, Shisaki tells him that Deku is in the area, and that piques Shigaraki's interest. So when they form their alliance, Shigaraki tells him that I have a secret weapon just in case if that kid show up. And it did. And yes, Twice and Toga are still here. That's why Shigaraki knew when to send the Numu. Then Shin started using his quirk on Eri and tell her to come here. And Overhaul doing the same, telling her if she doesn't come here right now, he will kill everyone. Eri starts sobbing and starts slowly walking towards Shisaki. But this time Deku grab her and tell her she doesn't need to go. Shisaki starts going on his monologue and tell her that Eri's quirk is a curse, and he's the only one who can use it properly. Everyone get pissed. But suddenly the earth starts breaking under them. They look to see Deku and he's in rage. Same goes for Naofumi. So Deku went 100% Omen Ultra Instinct and Naofumi went 50% One for All. But before they attack Shisaki, the Numu charged at them, forcing him to fight him instead. And Deku quickly realized that the Numu is somewhat absorbing his attack, the same way the Numu that did in USJ. And he knows only one way will work on him, completely vaporizing his brain, or damaging it beyond repair. So Deku tells his plan to Naofumi, but if he needs to focus his attack, he can't fight the Numu. Naofumi tell him, I can handle him, and I'll give you a clean shot to him. But, no buts, just do it. Deku not and start powering up to his max. Then Naofumi charged at the Numu. He used his black whip to throw him up in the air, but the Numu was so strong, so he was able to break free from black whip only a few feet above the ground. But that was actually Naofumi's plan. He charged at the Numu from below and he powered up 100% in both of his hands. Then he flew up in the sky and his hand break because 100%. Then he yelled, now Reaper! Deku shot at the top of his lungs, and there is that monster roar again. Then he extended his right hand and formed a blade. He fly at the Numu and cut him clean in half. You're strong, but you cannot heal from this. Then Deku fly down to check on Naofumi. He's fine, but he will not be able to use his hand again. Well, until they heal. And after seeing Naofumi, Shisaki take the opportunity and tell Eri, look, they get hurt because of you, so come back or else. Once again, Eri starts walking slowly toward them, but this time, even though beating up, Naofumi stand in front of her and tell her, it's okay, you don't need to come back to him. She starts telling him that she need to go back or everyone will die. And accidentally, she starts using her quirk. And because Naofumi is right beside her, his hand healed. Naofumi asks her if she's a healer. Then he felt a sharp pain, the same pain that Deku feel it when he was close to Eri. Then Shisaki tried to get a hold of Eri using his quirk, and he formed a bunch of spears and tried to impale Naofumi. Naofumi thinks quickly on his feet, grabs Eri and jumps away. And at the same time, Deku fired an air cannon hitting Shisaki, and while he's flying, Mirio got close to him and slammed him against the ground. Meanwhile, the Rapper and Rikia are dealt with. The heroes think that is the end. Eri's quirk is still going on a bit of a rampage. Naofumi tried to calm her down, but nothing is working. So Shisaki took the opportunity, launched a bunch of spears at everyone, and at the same time send Rikia and the Rapper close to the Numu. You know what will happen. Shisaki know if he want to beat them, especially that kid, I mean Izuku, he need to use all the tricks that he have. So he merged the three of them, basically making the same monster that he did in the anime. Although a bit bigger because there is a Numu and the Rapper inside. And they're pretty big dudes. Well, the Numu is not a dude technically, well, you know what I mean. Then Shisaki tell them that he will kill everyone and take Eri. Then suddenly Deku jump at him and kick him, but the kick did nothing. Shisaki tried to grab Deku, but Deku was fast enough to avoid him. Deku land beside Naofumi, and he tell him, damn it, not only he fused with everyone and gained their physical strength, but he also get their quirks. It's almost like I'm fighting him again. So Naofumi asks him if there is any way we can beat him. Deku tell him if he have the Numu's power, he must definitely have shock absorption. So there is a limit, we can hit him really hard. But the second quirk will be a problem, high speed regeneration. Combine that with his quirk and he's literally a monster. I think there is a chance that my full power attack can beat him, but it's only a small chance. Then Naofumi tell him, what if I join you? Even though 100% of One For All is not as strong as your mastered Ultra Instinct, I think it will give us the edge in the fight. Deku tell him, yeah, I think that will work, but we need to do some damage on him first. I can do it on my own, but I don't think I will still have enough power to launch another attack. Naofumi smirk and tell him, you'll not be alone, I'm right here. Deku tell him, what do you mean? But Naofumi looked at Eri and tell her, can you please lend me your power? Eri tell him her power is just a curse. Naofumi smiled, put her on his back. He uses his bed to make sure that she doesn't fall, and tell her, don't listen to that monster, because the way I see it, your power is a blessing. Eri cries a bit after she heard those kind words. Plus, when Naofumi held her, she felt the same warmth that she felt from Deku the first time they met. Then Naofumi starts letting One For All throughout all his body. Deku tell him, what are you doing? Naofumi tell him, what I have to do. Then Deku can feel and see a sudden rise in ki in Naofumi. He immediately realized that he's going 100% throughout all his body. Before he can say a word, Naofumi charged at Shisaki, grab him by the arm or one of them, and throw him up in the sky. Everyone is watching in awe, they can barely see him move. On the other hand, Deku smiled. What a reckless idiot. But a reckless idiot that I'm proud of calling my friend. You just showed me your resolve, let me show you mine. Deku started powering up more and more, and he transformed to his mastered Ultra Instinct. Everyone is shocked except for the Big Tree and Aizawa and his classmate. They did see Deku fight all for one, remember, but they didn't see Deku in silver hair form. So the other heroes start to understand what exactly happened that day. Deku looked at them and told them, we will be right back. Then he fly to join Naofumi. Meanwhile, Naofumi is going full on Saitama on overhaul, but it's not as easy as the anime. Remember, this overhaul have a copy of the quirk of shock absorption, so it's not as strong as the real quirk, but it still is a hassle. And when Naofumi started thinking what to do, suddenly Overhaul got hit multiple times, sending him fly up in the air. What took you so long? He asked Deku. Sorry, I needed to power up. So, you ready? Let's finish this. Naofumi nod and both of them charge at Shisaki. And needless to say, Overhaul will wish that he already has surrendered. Both of them are not holding anything back. Blow after blow, punch after punch. Of course, Deku is doing most of the damage, but still, we did see what Deku 100% did in the anime. So, Naofumi is still dealing his fair share of damage. And Naofumi did comment that it resembled the time they fought the sludge villain. Deku smiled and tell him, speaking of the sludge villain, let's end it right now. Naofumi nodded, then both of them punched Shisaki one more time, sending him flying even further. Then Deku pulled his right hand behind him and Naofumi did the same with his left hand. They scream and start powering up their attacks. And when they fire them, the attacks start merging into a bigger one, a double Nova Flash if you want to give it a name. And the attack was a mix between Deku's blue color and Naofumi's green. And it made direct contact with Shisaki, completely erasing most of his body, and what's left of him falls back to the ground. Two of them land beside him, and Deku thought that is the end for him. He will pass out, but he didn't, because he's really close to Naofumi, meaning he's really close to Eri, so he's in the range of her quirk. Then suddenly Eri's quirks are getting even more powerful. Both Deku and Naofumi are in immense pain, they can barely move. And because Shisaki is really close to them, he got affected by the quirk as well. So he split back to 4 people, or 3 people and a dead Numu. Luckily Aizawa was there, so he was able to cancel all their quirks, and basically having the same ending as the anime, although with Night Eye still alive. And Mirio having his quirk. Yeah, I'm salty about it, deal with it, I like Mirio's character. After that everyone check is the 3 of them are okay. They are. Then Deku turned off for me. Thanks, I knew that I couldn't have done it alone. Naofumi smile, raise his face to a face bump and tell Deku, well, someone had to do to make sure that you don't do something reckless. Deku tell him, look who's talking. They share a laugh and a face bump. From this point on, the story continued the same way the anime did. Eri going to the hospital, Shisaki using his hands, the League of Villains getting the bullets, the school festival, and if you're asking about Gentle Criminal, I would say that Deku is going to buy the rope because I think he will let the role of being a disco ball to Aoyama. Plus, what happened with Deku will not affect the fight between Endeavor and the 3rd generation Numu. I think the only change that Endeavor will be more motivated to be #1 hero, especially knowing how strong is Deku. But overall, this is the end. Thank you guys for sticking with me through the end in this What If. And if you have any What If suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. And like always, if you like it, drop a like. And like always guys, peace.